I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero.
A real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary. We'll make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become a hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This
2
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
Okay, let's see. Hitting record. Check. Seeing what happens. Check. Oh, what? Why, hello there. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. You know, you're probably asking yourself, why in the bittersweet and salty name of Sam Hill's favorite chicken, rubber chicken that is, Jasper Hogglesnock, do people take showers? Or why did they kill off 11 in Stranger Things? Or cancel season 5 of Cobra Kai? Well, these great questions and more will not be answered on today's show. Thank you.
What about their legs? They don't need those. Ooh, they look tasty.
Let's rock it. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm hungry now.
I don't know about you, but
people's legs.
I don't know why we need our legs either, because you never see our legs. Nobody ever sees our legs.
That's true.
We could not have legs, and nobody would know it.
That's true.
So that Urukai was right.
Was he? That was an orc.
Was that an orc? Oh yeah, he was an orc.
He was an orc.
The orc said that the Urukai they were traveling with.
He was like, "We need them unspoiled."
Him.
Yeah.
Such nerdy little
I'm a nerd. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I am the real Brian.
I am Captain Influence.
That's good.
We don't always say that every episode, do we?
No, it's been a long time, and we have our names underneath, which that's nice. Yeah. But anyway, welcome to the Brian Show. Thanks for I got to say, I really, really appreciate you joining us and being a part of the show. It is really, honestly, like if it weren't for you listening and watching.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you too, Captain. But I was going to say, if it weren't for you listening and watching, we wouldn't be here, because otherwise we'd be talking to ourselves, which, sometimes I kind of feel like that's just the way it is anyway. It's just us talking to ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, we're just passing time until this life ends and we move on to the next thing,
What else would you do? I guess
exactly.
Eat people's legs. Well, we don't want to eat people's legs. We want to eat hobbits' legs. They're a little tastier.
I kind of am. I'm getting a hankering for this Jasper Hogglesnock's legs.
He's rubber chicken. Jasper Hogglesnock. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Sam Hill's favorite rubber chicken is Jasper. I can't even say his name. Jasper Hogglesnock.
Hogglesnock, yeah.
Yeah. The third.
Well, it's a rubber chicken.
I think it's the 23rd. He might be the 23rd. Jasper Hogglesnock, the 23rd.
23rd, okay.
Yeah. You like
because rubber chickens are easy to lose, so that's probably true. Yeah.
Well, they usually run off. I don't know about you, but
on those rubber legs.
Yeah, they do have kind of a mind. Have you ever had a rubber chicken?
Never. I've never owned a rubber chicken.
Okay, yeah. See, and mine ran off too. So I have that problem where I get these rubber chickens and they run off. I don't know why.
They don't like you. I mean, most people like you, Brian, but rubber chickens, they're a little different.
Yeah.
I don't.
When you chuck chickens, chicken chucker kind of contests. I mean, I guess you're not supposed to throw rubber chickens at people. Maybe that's why it ran off. But
my third cousin's a champion rubber chicken chucker. So yeah.
Okay. Well, is that that'll be the next Olympic sport?
If curling's an Olympic sport, I'm just waiting for rubber chicken chucking.
Chicken chucking. All right. I wanted to show you though. Right behind me, right there is the frickin' chicken, and he always. But people have been asking, like, is there a chicken on top of your head, dude? He is the Real Brian Show mascot. He's been standing watch over the Real Brian. What people don't know is that when we were just doing the podcast, he would stand watch over the microphone in the podcast studio. Yeah. Now that we're actually on video as well, now you can see the frickin' he's not a rubber chicken. He's a frickin' chicken.
He's a frickin'. Yeah. And you don't want to chuck him.
He's getting old, man. That frickin' chicken's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Long time.
You don't want to chuck that chicken.
No. He's got claws and One of these days it's going to be kind of like Elf on a Shelf. It's going to be like chicken on a. I don't even know.
What rhymes with chicken?
A pickin'. we need what's a rhyme for shelf that sounds like chicken? We need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. Hey, speaking of hearing from you, I just want to say, I hope you're enjoying if you're just listening to the show and you have not checked out the YouTube channel, I would ask, would you please go check it out? It's youtube.com/TheRealBrian. You can find it. It's easy to find, but type in that URL. It's really easy. Those are in the show notes, by the way, if you're listening to the podcast. Check out the YouTube channel, because if you're just listening, you are missing out on reviews that we've been doing, like Stranger Things, the new Obi-Wan series, Halo, the best earbuds ever, by the way, which were, holy cow, they're amazing. Lightsabers, all that good stuff. There's all kinds of fun things I'm doing that we're doing here on video. And so I would really, really ask that you go check out the YouTube channel. Even if you're not like, I just rather listen to the show, that's okay, but you're missing episodes. So go check it out, subscribe at least, and let us know what you think. I would love to know what you think of the YouTube channel. This is still new for us, and I would appreciate any and all feedback, by the way. I know Captain has been asking for feedback about his beard, which is quite stylish and manicured.
And should I dye it to get rid of the gray or not? Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. And then should you shave like a big strip right down the middle so that it's just like it's shaved really thin line right all the way down, and then the rest of it is full? That's
maybe
a good question.
Maybe I'll look like a kind of a 60s sci-fi character, maybe.
Yeah. That's another question that's not going to be answered in today's episode. But we did not answer the question about why they killed off 11 in Stranger Things, and I'm still shocked about that moment. And what the heck? Season 5 of Cobra Kai is canceled? Okay, so anyway, I would really appreciate feedback, please. I would love to know what you think about what we're doing here. What do you like about the show? What do you not like? And all the different videos we're doing right now. If you're like, you know what, I can't stand it when you guys review TV shows and movies because I hate TV shows and movies. Tell us that. We'd like to know. What would you change? If you had your way, you had a magic wand and you said, Brian, Captain, I would wave my magic wand and you guys would be gone and I would be in the host seat, whoever you are, by the way. So let us know. What would you change? I got to say,
then we'll have you on the show. So
yeah, you'll take over. It'll be amazing. And by the way, I'm dead serious about this too. TRB@realbrianshow.com. I know I'm giving my email out. Please no spam. If you spam me, I'm coming after you. But please contact me directly.
He'll send the freaking chicken after you.
Well, he'll come after you. Yeah, it's gonna be like.
That dude on you don't know Brian, but there's this dude on Breaking Bad. His name's Mike.
Yeah,
he does all the dirty work for the bad guys.
Okay,
he'll come after you. So I mean, it's the freaking chicken makes Mike look kind of tame.
That's
just
true.
Saying. All right.
Speaking of that, side story here. I worked with, when I was doing radio years back, the radio station. Well, okay, so there was this amazing Italian restaurant in the area that did advertising with the radio station, and so they started doing some partnerships. And I used to host a disco dance party on Saturday nights. It was 6 hours of disco. It was the funniest thing.
You're dating yourself, Brian.
No, because I never grew up with disco. So you got to understand, I'm coming in as this young kid and I'm like, dude, I don't know disco. I've never listened to. I knew some of the songs, like who doesn't know Staying Alive and Dancing Queen and all that, but I didn't listen to it. I didn't grow up with it. It was before my time. And so I was laughing. And they said Gloria
Gaynor, one of your ex-wives?
Okay, you're right. So my immortal Highlander self, you're right about that. That was a long time ago. Gloria Gaynor, yeah.
She's awesome.
She said she'd survive, but sorry. Anyway,
did she?
So I'm coming. Dude, did you see the Jeopardy? There was a Jeopardy final Jeopardy clue. They said goodbye to this wonderful, great person, and somebody did a tribute. And one of the people wrote down Phil Donahue. Who is Phil Donahue? And Mayim Bialik, I love Mayim, by the way.
Yeah.
She
awesome.
starts cracking up. She says, well, thankfully, Phil Donahue is still with us. It was just this really awkward moment. But it was about Sidney Poitier, which... Poitier. Anyway.
Poitier, yeah.
Which I was trying to remember, and I was like, oh, yeah, Sidney, that was this year. Wow. So there you go. Side note, Gloria Gaynor, I don't know. I hope she's still alive. That was the other person who was saying that Diana Ross was like 90-something years old, too, which is hilarious, which definitely not. Disco.
Almost.
Back to the disco story, though. I ended up doing the disco story. I absolutely loved the disco music, which was so funny. And now I just like disco is some of my favorite music now, which I'm sorry. If you hate disco, disco is not dead. It's alive. Anyway, that was a fun time. I got to go over to this Italian restaurant. We broadcasted live from there. It was a really, really fun experience. I find out later And I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect pretty strongly that there were mafia ties with this family. And so
Northern Colorado Mafia, yes.
Yes. And it was kind of funny because, and not the two guys here, there was the guy that owned it and his brother. His brother was actually part of the police force in one of the areas. And he, they both said like, are you having trouble with someone, And because we would just chat, and I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, are you having trouble with this guy? I said, yeah, but it'll be all right. And they said, well, and they were dead serious. Like, if you continue to have trouble, give me a call and we'll take care of it. And I was like,
interesting.
Are you serious? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, and I started laughing and they just straight faced. And they're like, what's so funny? And I'm like, you're totally kidding, right? No. Like, wait, are you serious? So either they were the most convincing liars that I've ever seen, but I mean, that went on for years, actually. They kept saying that. And they were saying, oh yeah, we've let's just say we've got family that are into things that we don't do and we can call on them. And it was just really funny. So I could call them in addition to the freaking chicken if somebody, spams my email.
Spams you, yeah.
Yeah. So don't do that. All right. Well, anyway,
don't do that.
trb@realbrianshow.com. Contact us. Email me directly. I was going to say this, Captain, that as with anything in life, the only way, in fact, we just experienced a great conversation, the two of us off mic, discussing, venting, airing the laundry so that we could, grow the friendship and improve that working relationship and all that. It's ironic that I wrote this down before we had that conversation, but I was saying the only way to really grow and improve and do better is to get actual, honest, real constructive feedback. And if you don't get it, then, you're just continually flying blind. And so really, I really, truly, and I really want to know, like, what do you love about the show? What do you not love? What do you not like? What do you wish went away? And what would you do differently? Please give us some feedback. Really, you're not going to hurt our feelings. I mean, be respectful, of course, but you're not going to hurt our feelings. And we really would love to know, because this show is for you. I mean, yes, it's for us. We love it. We have a good time too, but we wouldn't be doing it if we were talking to ourselves. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that without recording it.
We can game. I mean, that's what we do. We game and we talk. It's okay. Let me ask you this too. Here's another question. I don't know how to answer this one yet. When we game, Captain, you and I get into some very interesting discussions. Some of them
about anything, yeah.
Yeah, it's really about anything. And some of them are politically based. Not really? That, yeah. And here's the thing. And I'm going to throw this one out. I know this might throw some people off, but you and I got into a conversation quite a few months ago. And this was before the whole Roe v. Wade resurfacing that happened a couple weeks ago. This was actually probably 6 months ago. We got into an interesting discussion about abortion. And I thought, man, I'm one of those people that's like, I never want to have a discussion about abortion ever. And somehow we got into this discussion while we were playing WoW. And I'm not going to lie, it was one of the most fascinating, healthy, and surprisingly encouraging discussions I think I've ever had about anything political in my life, because you were like, well, okay, here's what I grew up with and here are my thoughts. And, you weren't like, this is me, I'm dogmatic. This is, you were like, right. This is what I believe and here's what I know. And then I said, oh, well, this is what I believe. And then we started asking questions about each other and trying to understand. And then all of a sudden it turned into this very intelligent conversation that I don't feel like most people have. And
yeah. That's why people avoid political conversations, is because or religious or anything that is polarizing, because they're afraid that the other person that they might have a conversation with might not either agree with them or take it the wrong, or they'll take it the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I feel like too that in that moment, people are they've made up their minds. They're angry. They're ready for a fight. They're trying to pick a fight. And that's where they go out. Whereas in our particular specific case, we were more coming at it with curiosity and, wanting to listen and wanting to understand and stuff. And so I don't know, that conversation is and among others, by the way, too, that aren't necessarily nearly as emotionally charged, I guess would be the word.
Right.
Other conversations we've had too, that I just kind of went, man, it still sticks in my mind. These would be valuable conversations to have on the show, not because we're trying to assert our opinion, but it's because it's a conversation around a very interesting topic that asks questions and strives for us to understand more. That's something I don't hear anywhere. I don't know anyone doing that.
What?
Usually it's here's my opinion and you're wrong. No, here's my opinion and you're wrong. And that's all I ever hear. I never hear somebody seeking understanding and wanting to listen to someone else about it.
I happen to know that Rogan's podcast, that's all he does.
Okay, well there's one.
Conversations like that, and they're not contentious ever, almost ever. Maybe one time I've heard in hundreds of episodes.
Troy and Abed did too, by the way.
Yeah.
They had good questions.
There are people out there, not just him, but there are other people out there who do have those tough, controversial conversations. And he gets burned for it sometimes. And it's not that he should get burned. It's just that, he'll get attacked by mainstream media for saying things out of context. And it's rather amusing. And he takes it really well too. He's got a good attitude about it. So.
Well, one of my questions, and I'm not saying we're changing the show to be like that at all. I'm just saying that,
don't worry, everybody.
No. Yeah. It's sometimes you hear that and it's just like when we're chatting, when we're gaming, and I'm like, we should have recorded this. Like this was actually a good conversation that I think would be valuable and beneficial to others. Oh, wow. So my question to you, if I'm being completely honest, this is to you listening or watching right now. I've had this conversation with Sarah. I've been feeling like I'm censoring myself. We don't want to offend. We don't want to upset. We don't want to, I definitely don't want to be negative. Like it's one thing to talk about something that is negative and then find a way to look at the positive and be thankful. And that's something I'm constantly having to challenge myself with because things have been a little tough personally, for us. So we're struggling through things right now. And so things happen, but you don't want to dwell on it either. You want to look at what is positive and try to move forward in that particular sense. So that is still my goal. I'm just kind of curious though, do you want us to, sometimes just fall into these conversations and is it okay with you? Because sometimes we get into this and I go and I edit it out because I'm like, I don't know if we should do that. I'm afraid of what would happen if that airs. Because I don't want to be, beaten up or, I don't want to offend anyone or upset anyone, and it's not going to happen all the time.
Right. We don't want to offend people, but no matter, whenever you have those conversations, you're going to offend somebody because that's just how people are.
Well, sure. We're going to offend people with our reviews on, Obi-Wan too. Cause Star Wars
we've offended
it.
Yeah. We've offended like 10 people right now, just having this conversation. So yeah.
No, but okay. So that's why I'm just curious from you listening or watching. What do you think? Are you kind of like, man, actually, I would love it if you guys shared your thoughts and came at it from a curious approach rather than a judgmental and dogmatic approach. Right. Or would you rather say, no, please keep all of that out of your show. This show is 100% an escape for us. That's all I want is from all that stuff. We just want to escape into the nerddom and the positivity of life, which by the way, I'm 100% okay with that. I just asked this question. What do you think? It is the Real Brian Show. So do we add stuff, that real stuff into it, or do we keep this as a positive escape? I'm okay either way. I'm just asking. I'm asking for feedback.
How real do you want us to get? In other words, so.
Yeah. This is another funny thing is people, they coach you, be very authentic, be transparent. And if there's one thing that I've learned about humans, especially over the last 2.5 years, is that everyone wants you to be real and transparent, but not like that.
Yeah.
So they really don't want it. It's amazing. Like, if they don't want you to lie. I get that. Like I don't think anyone wants you to really lie to them, but I've found over the last 2.5 years that 100% of the people that I've interacted with that are not in my quote inner circle don't really want you to be fully honest with them and fully transparent and telling them everything because they can't or don't want to handle it.
Right.
So that's another thing, and I'm totally respectful of that.
Some people do like those kind of intelligent. And in fact, I think there's some people that crave those type of intelligent conversations, not argumentative or negative, but intelligent discussion about what the media portrays as controversial issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love having those conversations because you have to come at it. We both come at it as we don't know what we're talking about. We're just talking about it.
Yeah.
So, and we're,
it's interesting because one of the things that we were talking about, and I'm starting to firmly believe this now, is that, I have my beliefs on things and I choose to believe those things. But if I'm being completely honest, unless I was experiencing it firsthand, I don't know anything.
There you go. That's the best attitude.
I can choose to believe someone else's opinion or what I've read or whatever, but because I have not experienced it, I have absolutely no authority in the matter. And so that's where I try to, it is. And I try to step back and say, well, here's what I choose to believe. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But because I wasn't experiencing it firsthand, I can't say for sure.
Right.
Which is why, when we're talking about our movies and TV show reviews and stuff like that, it's like, hey, we experienced it firsthand, but it's still our opinion. It's our preference of what we like to watch or listen to or whatever, but there's a lot out there right now that I've had to remove myself conversationally because it's like, I wasn't involved firsthand, and it's just a bunch of people pissing on each other right now. But I do love the idea of saying sometimes, well, why don't we ask questions and be curious and try to understand more and stuff like that. Maybe this isn't the show for that, and that's totally fine. I'm just throwing this out as a, hey, this is what we talk about. This is what we experience. Do you want to hear this on the show, or do you want to keep it a positive escape? And by the way, a positive escape is a very healthy thing right now for most of us. So I will not betray that if that's what the majority needs right now.
Yeah.
But let me know. Let us know, please.
If we really get a bug up our butts, we could make a different show for that or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, we could, or it could be a different episode where it's like, we're going to dive into these things from our approach, but we're not going to taint Fridays with that or whatever, So,
right.
Yeah. Which is
the
totally
happy
fine.
hour remains the happy hour.
Yeah. Maybe we don't even mess with Fridays anyway. Maybe we do it as an additional episode, and that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. Just throwing it out, So anyway, check out the stuff on YouTube. And we did, by the way, we reviewed the new Obi-Wan show and Stranger Things. And oh my gosh.
Just like the first episode of Stranger Things, but yeah.
Yeah, first episode. I think I'm 3 in now. I think I just watched the third one because we recorded that earlier in the week. And then,
3.
I'm 4 crazy. 4 in, okay. And then, of course, Obi-Wan 2 in still. I haven't watched the third one yet. But anyway, we're loving both the shows so far. I know not everybody agrees with it, but go watch our reviews and tell us what you think about it. And give us your feedback about what you think of the shows, too, because it was a lot of fun. Dude, do you see that sign right there? I'm going to point. The sign right there. Do you see that?
The Real Brian on air. Yeah.
So I want to do a shout out to my sister. So you have an adopted sister.
Almost adopted.
Almost, yeah. That was a huge surprise. So Sarah just goes, hey, you got a package. And I was like, oh, didn't know there was a package. A total surprise, right? It's so funny. We were talking about this. I can never get things in the mail hardly at all. It's like once in a while you get a birthday card,
in junk mail.
Yeah, in junk mail. So that shows up and I'm like, what is this? And on the front, it said who it was from and stuff like that. Oh, okay. So I opened this thing up and I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. So I've got a sign there. So thank you so much. It looks amazing. And right above it, as you see, is the Orville. I'm trying to there we go. The Vanna White. That's the Orville, which of course we're getting ready because that just came out yesterday. If you're watching this today, Friday, June 3rd. Is that right?
3rd,
my gosh.
Yep.
So June 2nd, of course, Orville season 3 came out. I'm huge. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about Orville. So I'll be talking about Orville, but anyway, there you go. So we got the Orville displayed and that Real Brian on air. So I'll be doing that now. And it changes colors. It's so much fun, dude.
It's neat. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's all kinds of fun things we can do with it. But anyway, maybe I'll go. Oh, there it goes. Woohoo. I don't even know what I'm doing. Yeah. You can do all the different colors and go crazy. So yeah, anyway. All right. I just wanted to showcase that and have a little fun there. So Captain, dude, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, I just want to say briefly, I had my first injury at Pilates this week.
Uh-oh. Wait,
yeah, for the first time, I did something at Pilates my body didn't like, and it tweaked my lower back. And I asked, and I'm okay now. It wasn't so bad that it's actually, I've gotten better. But I asked the instructor if she saw that often, and she said, no, almost never. And my jaw dropped because surely as a Pilates instructor, she deals with some people who just do something weird and tweak their back. And it's not like they're breaking their back or they're injuring themselves for life or anything like that. My muscles in my back seized and because they didn't like what I was doing to my spine. And I mean, the muscles basically saved me from injuring my spine essentially.
Wait, so what were you doing? What was the exercise?
I was putting my feet up on the bar on the reformer, and I was trying to hold on to the bar at the same time and then pull myself back to stretch my hamstrings.
Oh, geez.
And my body would not. I just couldn't
Wait, so you were like
stretch.
fully bent over like that. So like feet down here. Well, whatever.
Yeah. So
You're
feet
like,
up on the bar, my hands on the bar.
Ooh.
And then I was supposed to try and stretch my hammies out as much as I could. And then my back went boing like that. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to stop.
That
and
is very interesting to me because my Pilates instructor just taught me that exercise 2 weeks ago. And she said, this is a very advanced exercise. And I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. And also because you're so tall, it doesn't usually work on tall people. And she was showing me.
Yeah.
And she said, go ahead and try it, but I want you to be very careful because you can easily hurt your back. So
and
I said,
felt very bad about it, by the way. So
yeah, and I said, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said, I don't want you doing it again. Wow, interesting. I'm surprised though that they had you doing that so soon.
Everyone else did it.
Wow, interesting. Well,
so
I'm not saying you have a bad instructor. I'm just surprised.
No, she's really good. Yeah, we like her. So she felt really bad about it. Anyway, so just good to know. My first injury. Hopefully, it's the last.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention that my mother. You remember I mentioned last week my mom almost died. She's doing fine. She had a successful operation. They removed like 18 inches of her colon. I might have said that. TMI. I don't know.
We were talking about turds last week, so I think you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she's doing all right.
She's doing good, and she's more or less back to normal, almost back to normal, I should say. So it was a major surgery. I didn't realize how major that kind of surgery was.
Colon surgery.
She was in the hospital for like 5 days.
Wow.
So
well, I'm glad she's okay.
The whole time. Yeah, me too.
Man, I'm glad she's doing well. I'm glad you're not fully, permanently injured. Right. And just by the way, too, I've had my share of kind of tweaking my neck a little bit because ever since I got hit by that car on my bike.
Every time you say that, it makes me laugh. I'm sorry. No offense. It's just I just picture you getting hit by a car on your bike. It's like,
it's funny to laugh at now because it was a long time ago. But it would have been funny if it were so. Okay, another funny story.
Awful, but yeah,
we had two funny stories about this because there was one day. Okay, so my friend, oh my gosh, you remember those old kind of BMX style bikes? Like
the ones that we used to ride when we were kids.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if they still have them now, but they of course we rode them around. So my friend had a really, really fancy one and we were doing something where it's like he hit something and then like his bike stopped and he would flip over his handlebars. And this is we're filming and this is where we're our kids. He did one though that looked so realistic that he literally stopped his bike. His bike flipped. He literally did a full flip over the handlebars, landed in the grass. His bike flipped up over him. It was one of the most glorious things I've ever seen. And I were like, okay, you can't even like accidentally do that perfectly. And he's no stunt person. He was a little sore afterwards. So that's the first one. That was funny. The second one was when we were in college, our freshman year, we saw a dude lying in the grass. He was hit on his bike too. And his bike was up on top of this truck's hood and the guy was out in the street and just passed out. This was like end of the year, our freshman year. And, we were running around, we had super soakers and we were, messing with each other. This was freshman year of college though, not high school. Oh, the parking ticket people. They were always so mean. They'd they'd be sitting there when you had like
the parking Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah. Like between 3 and 5 minutes left on your thing and they'd stand there and they'd have the ticket all written out and they'd be like ripped. And then as soon as it hit 0, boom, they'd put them on. I was like, come on guys. Yeah, and you might be like a couple minutes late. So my friend went by and he said, and it was a hot day. He goes, well, it looks like a hot day. You look hot today. And he squirted the parking meter guy with the water gun. And then, just said, whatever. I'm just kidding. Hope you cool off, and then ran off. He was just totally right. Well, this accident was taking place about, 100 feet away. And the policeman was there at the scene of the crime, at the scene of this guy, like lying unconscious in the asphalt. This parking guy goes up to him and says, I just got shot. And the policeman leaves the scene of the crime. No one else there. Runs after my friend and like throws my friend up against a wall, frisks him hard. I mean, like basically arrested him
for a super soaker,
and said, show me your gun. Show me your gun. And he's like, wait, what? Are you serious? He's like, I shot a guy with a water gun. He's like, and the guy like literally steps back, puts his hand on his own gun and says, show me your weapon right now. And my friend pulls out this bright yellow and orange super soaker. He's like, are you talking about this? And the guy's like, don't move. He's freaking out.
Oh, come on.
This is dead serious. I'm not kidding. So then the guy
I know you're not kidding, but I have a hard time believing the story. Go ahead.
So then the guy says to my friend, and his name's Dave, by the way. The guy says, unload your weapon now. And my friend's like, are you serious? Do it. So he's unscrewing the water bottle. He's pouring the water out all over the ground and says, the weapon is unloaded, and then he throws him up against the wall. And that's when he threw him up against the wall and frisked him and everything. And he got arrested. But then later filed a complaint against this guy, and the guy got fired. The policeman got fired because of what he did. He left the scene of a real crime to arrest my friend who had a water gun. Wow. And so it was one of those interesting
cool
stories,
story, bro.
And so then we recreated a thing for our video class that we were doing when I was doing news writing and journalism and stuff like that. And we had my friend who had hit a deer with his truck, so his front end was just smashed. We put a bike up on top of it. We recreated the scene. And then, the truck was like kind of in a weird position. And then he was like laying all sprawled out, and we recreated that whole thing. What was hilarious is that it was a news writing. So it was like trying to recreate like an accident. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, this was totally coincidental. These 3 fire trucks come driving right by for a totally different thing. And we're like, I got an A+ for that, man. It was awesome. But the whole point is like, we were talking about this guy getting hit and how funny it looked and everything like that. And then I got hit, and it wasn't funny at the time, but now it's funny. So you can laugh at my expense.
Wow. That was a really roundabout way of
I just love telling these stories, man. I mean, it's just like once in a while you're like, oh, I got to share this. This was beautiful. So there you go. There's all these crazy stories and yes, my neck. There you go. I think it's origin time. Give me an origin.
Yeah, let's do an origin. So this week's origin is in my wheelhouse or outside my wheelhouse. You've all heard that, right? Yeah. That's not really in my wheelhouse, so I'll let Brian handle it, So I got this from a website called quickanddirtytips.com. It's not a porn site. It just has a weird name, quickanddirtytips.com. It's kind of like a Reddit, but with more like people asking questions that are intellectual, I guess. Anyway, I could be totally wrong about it, but they had this really good article about the origin of In My Wheelhouse. And here it goes. Although people have been steering ships for centuries, the term wheelhouse appeared for the first time in the early 1800s. So like maybe they didn't have the wheel inside of a little box structure before that. I don't know. In 1840, a traveler on a ship that burned and sank in Long Island Sound wrote a letter of complaint to Daniel Webster, then the Secretary of State of the United States. The ship's captain, quote, seemed confused, unquote, the traveler wrote. And, quote, he went into the wheelhouse, and that was the last I saw of him. I rather think he stayed there until he suffocated, unquote. Wow. So that's like the first time people found in writing that they used the word wheelhouse. In actuality, by the way, the captain didn't suffocate. He escaped on a lifeboat along with 3 other people. All 136 other people on board died in the cold January waters.
Okay. So just clarifying that you're right. Some of the older ships, the wheel was up on the top deck.
Yeah,
I mean, like
the poop deck, by the way.
Yeah, the poop deck. Yeah, you think of like Sea of Thieves, and but those were where the wheels were, and so you're right about the wheelhouses probably.
Yeah, that might have been later. Something they invented later. Yeah,
interesting. So wait, are you saying like he went into the wheelhouse to go down with his ship? Is that kind of the whole? But he ended up escaping anyway.
That's what the traveler wrote to the Secretary of State. It looked like he went in there, and that's the last he saw of him. But it turns out either he slipped out the other side or what. But he did escape with 3 other people. Okay, presumably this traveler, along with I don't know that doesn't make sense. It's like the traveler wrote the complaint, so he saw him enter the wheelhouse, but then that's the last he saw of him. Well, then how did only he and 3 other people escape? I don't know. This is just an article I'm reading. For some reason, to continue, in the 1950s, this term was picked up by baseball announcers and reporters. They began to refer to a batter's, quote, wheelhouse, unquote, by that meaning the area of the strike zone where a batter swings with the most power. Okay. Reporters also called this area the crush zone or the kill zone, by the way. Okay. Those phrases seem pretty obvious, but we still don't know the wheelhouse how the wheelhouse analogy got started. But if you imagine a sea captain standing in front of the ship's wheel, you can see how the wheel forms a sort of target in front of the midsection. Maybe that image inspired reporters who were talking about baseball. So another theory described in the Dixon, baseball dictionary is that batters wheel, quote unquote, at the ball, taking good level roundhouse swings, unquote. Perhaps this wheeling suggested the association. So either way, in the 1980s, the meaning of this term extended once again. It became to mean, and still means, an area or field in which a person excels or does not excel, or should stay away from. You could say that grammar is my wheelhouse, for example, or that teaching people to write is in my wheelhouse. Conversely, you can also state the opposite, which I hear more commonly, when something is outside your wheelhouse and you don't know what you're doing. So, okay, there you go. So, in summary, the modern meaning that we all know really only came around in the 1980s. So within our lifetime.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because you're right. I probably haven't heard it. I don't hear it a lot, but when I hear it, I think this was one I sent it to you, but I hear it, and it's usually in a business setting, and it has been more within the last probably 20 years anyway, even though that's later than the 80s, but still. So
I use it a lot. I use that phrase a lot, and I'll probably start using it more now that I've known an origin for it. So it's just how, it's like when you buy a Honda Civic and you start seeing Civics everywhere. You're going to see Civics. That's a bad example. You see those everywhere anyway. You know what I mean? So.
No, I mean, I don't pay attention to them, but now I will. That's the whole point. Yeah. Oh, I understand. Oh, that's cool. All right. Let's talk movies really quickly. So first of all, I just want to say The Secrets of Dumbledore, the new Fantastic Beasts movie, is finally out on digital. I never did see it in the theater, and I'm bummed. And so I'm excited. I'm finally going to watch that because it's time. But I think more importantly, because it's more timely, Top Gun Maverick, which I have to laugh at this because I was going through some old show notes 2.5 years ago, like show notes from 2.5 years ago. And in there,
before the pandemic,
it said, we can't wait for Top Gun Maverick coming out in June of 2020.
Yep.
So here we are, 2 years later. And yes, I understand they postponed it with the pandemic, but it makes me laugh that this was filmed probably 3 or so years ago.
Yeah, or at least in good part.
I wonder done some extra stuff.
Yeah, like did post-production just take 2 years? Or I mean, I'd be curious to know exactly. No,
it was supposed to be out in June of 2020, and they delayed it because of COVID, because they shut down all the theaters. That's why they did it originally. Okay, but why did they push it 2 years later? I don't know. Probably because they wanted to maximize the amount of money they could make. But either way, there was a lot of speculation. Okay, why do we need another Top Gun movie? Is it going to be any good? I have not had a chance to see it, but everyone I know that has seen it has walked out and said, oh, wow, that was good. That was far better than I expected. And wow, it's so worth seeing. Everyone. I have not heard one negative review from people that I know about this. I haven't seen it.
So we don't know everybody, but everyone I've talked to and you who saw it.
And that's a lot of people.
Wow. And
so you saw it. Give us a quick non-spoilery version.
Very quick. Yeah. So first of all, go see it. If you like Top Gun, go see this movie. It for what it was, which is a Bruckheimer-esque, it's a Bruckheimer production, but he didn't direct it. It's a Simpson Bruckheimer production, believe it or not, just like the original.
Really? Okay.
For what it is, being that style of movie. Everyone knows that the Bruckheimer and Bruckheimer movies are very similar to Michael Bay movies, and that they have this kind of formula they follow. Yeah, where you're going to have some action that's over the top. You're going to have some pretty good cinematography and strong music and stuff. There's just this stuff that goes into that type of film. This is all of that, and for what it is, it's a fantastic sequel to Top Gun. Really, really well done. I don't see it winning any Oscars because it's just, if you take it out of what it is as a Bruckheimer sequel to Top Gun, it's a mediocre film. But for what it is, it was really fun to watch. We had a great time. Me and my movie buddy, my mother-in-law. Everyone in the theater loved it. There was even some clapping at the end. That doesn't happen very often. So, just in general, it was a fantastic, semi-nostalgic sequel. Yeah. Jennifer Connelly's in it. I didn't know she was going to be in it. Yep. She plays, and this isn't really a spoiler. She played, because she's right at the beginning of the movie. She plays Penny Benjamin. Remember who Penny Benjamin is?
Yep. I was talking about.
They mentioned her in the first movie.
Yeah, he's like something about in one admiral's daughter, and he's like Penny Benjamin, and you. Yeah. Bleep bleep.
I've had a crush on Jennifer Connelly since Labyrinth when I was like 10.
Wait, so Ed Harris was in it, right? as well.
Ed Harris was in it briefly.
That's what our show notes said from 2.5 years ago. Is you said Ed Harris looks old, and I can't believe Jennifer Connelly's in it. That's because I was reading her. It was from you that you had written in there. I was like,
so I'd forgotten all about that. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's been so long. I forgot that we talked about it. That's how long.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm
Val
glad it's
Kilmer
good.
makes an appearance in it. I mean,
which is awesome.
It's just, again, if you liked Top Gun, if you're a fan of the old Top Gun, you would do yourself a favor to see this movie. I strongly recommend it. Yeah.
Well, and I love good, military warfare movies. And I loved the fact that I always wanted to be a pilot too, but I have very, very bad vision and I would never make it. I'm not even allowed. I don't even think I'm allowed to be an airline pilot because my vision is so bad.
Dude, I'd have the biggest panic attack if I were in a jet right now. It's not even funny. I couldn't. I mean, back when I was in my 20s, no problem. But now I could never do that. Just the speed would blow me out of the water.
But see, I'd have to be the pilot, not some co-pilot, because if I'm in control, I'm having fun.
It. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it's better. So
I wanted to laugh. David wrote in the Facebook group. He said something about Top Gun Maverick. He said it's kind of like instead of saying in Star Wars, "May the Force be with you," it's "Don't think." I guess that was kind of their favorite phrase or something.
That was something from the movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. But then I said, well, they said that in Star Wars too, when Qui-Gon said to little Anakin, "Feel, don't think." I was like, hey, all right.
How'd that work out? Yeah. So,
well, he tried spinning. That's a good trick.
Before the movie, that theater I go to where they serve you food and everything, they show, instead of commercials before the movie, for the whole half hour before the film starts, they're showing clips from Top Gun. They're showing the original video, like the Highway to the Danger Zone video, which was really dumb, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I was watching Kenny Loggins is kind of like the way they had Kenny Loggins acting in that video was like, what are they doing with him? He's just kind of deadpanning the words to the camera in between shots of the film. Like when they show Kenny, he's sitting on this bed, deadpanning the lyrics to his song in between showing shots of the movie. And it's just like, wow, that was, looking at it 40 years later or 30 years later, it's like, why did they do that? I don't understand their choice there.
What you're saying is we need to go watch the music video to Danger Zone because I've never seen it. So
waste 3 minutes of your life and check that out. Remember that old Pepsi commercial back in '86 when that came out around the time Top Gun came out, where they had those guys flying the jets and the one guy had a Diet Pepsi and he couldn't get a bottle of Diet Pepsi. He couldn't get the
and then they couldn't get it out of its holder
and
it pours
and they inverted it and so it poured. So they showed that commercial and I was like, I remember that commercial.
I think they showed that because so we had a VHS of Top Gun. And then, of course, went to digital after that. But I think on that VHS, the commercial was on there.
They might have,
and I think that's how I saw it. I never saw Top Gun in the theater. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you liked it. That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad I liked it too. I really wanted to. I always go to a movie wanting to like it, but
I remember you weren't excited.
Gratifying. I wasn't terribly excited. It's just so gratifying to come out of a theater going, "Wow, that was so much better than I thought it would be."
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let's talk music. I've got a song here. So I'm a big fan of Icon for Hire, and they're an old band that, not old. They're from 2011. They're not old. They started off, I saw them do some stuff. I really love it. In fact, I think their second album is probably my favorite. But they put out a brand new song that really harkens back to some of their original style, and it's called Ready for Combat. And oh my gosh, it's some good hard rock, She even gets to a point where she's kind of screaming, not growl screaming, but she's kind of that shout screaming, And it fits. Like she's got that style and oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So I'm going to put that in the TRBS 2022 Spotify playlist. And of course that'll be linked and everything. So make sure to check that one out if you're a fan of that kind of style. It's gritty. It's hard. It's awesome. And then have you ever heard of the band Danger Silent?
No, I haven't.
Apparently they're a smaller band than I thought they were as far as popularity goes. I discovered them many years ago. The song's called, it's 9099. So it's 9099 is how it's written. And I loved the song. Never heard of the band before. This is quite some time ago. And, kind of Rewrite the Stars, which by the way that was in The Greatest Showman. And I don't know if they wrote it or did a cover of it. I honestly don't know.
The Greatest Showman,
probably a cover, but I don't know. And then
I told you that The Greatest Showman, the opening song in that movie turned me off, and I couldn't watch the rest.
Yeah. The movie is actually good, and it's
I know it's supposed to be really amazing, and I couldn't get past the first song because I just hate that style of song. Go ahead.
You know how I was? You have to watch the review for this, but I was talking about with Stranger Things season 1, the first 3 episodes drove me crazy, and I couldn't get past them originally because of Winona Ryder's character.
Winona Ryder, yeah.
So I didn't know this, but Johnny Pistolshot was we were talking about this last night, and I said, have you seen? He's like, I've only watched the first 3 episodes. He's like, I couldn't get past him. And I'm like, why? He's like, I hated Winona Ryder's character. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
That's awesome. So anyway, but season 4 is so good. All right. So they did a song called Paint and Color. I Know Your Secrets. Some of those songs are a little bit older, and I've been a big fan of this band, but I don't think I've mentioned them before, but I got to tell you, the variety that this band has is so amazing. Like, they're called a harder rock experimental band. They're from Phoenix. And what's cool about it though is they'll have like this beautiful orchestral music, and then they'll have this piano, and they'll have a female singer, they'll have a vocal singer. Then in the next moment it's like screaming like raw, and then in the next moment they're rapping, and then in the next moment I'm just like it's like the multi-passionate's ultimate band because it's just so much variety. It's so interesting. Very
they do
talented.
all that within one song?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
And it works. That's what's amazing to me. So anyway, they have a brand new song called Begin Again. I'm actually going to put all of those songs into the TRBS 2022 mix because I just want you to experience some of them. They're interesting. So I wanted to throw that one out. And then my third one is ODESZA, which I know you're a fan of ODESZA.
We do like ODESZA, yeah.
This is a very, very interesting one. I don't even know how to explain it. It's an interesting style. It's called Behind the Sun. It's new, but it's cool. One thing I love about ODESZA is that they've been doing a lot of different styles of music. So some of the songs are this style, and they have this one. It's completely different. In fact, some of the newest ODESZA songs have been really, really interesting. It's almost like they're doing it's just a lot of different styles, which I really appreciate. So check it out. Those are my 3 for this week. I've got more, but I'll hold the rest for next week. But Icon for Hire, Danger Silent, and ODESZA, brand new stuff. You know what?
No, but I know his brother who.
Oh.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
If you ask me to drive you and your pet monkey to the airport, I can help with that. But if you ask me to take your monkey out for breakfast and spend a day with him, I'd say, sorry, that's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I agree.
Monkeys.
I love monkeys.
I really don't like them.
Would you like to pet my... I'm going to get a monkey, actually, one of these days. So I'll have the chicken, the frickin' chicken, and a monkey, and it'll be the frickin' monkey because he's amazing.
Just keep that going on, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, hey, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Everything in the show notes and the description. Have a glorious week. Real Brian Show, signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.